The Katsina state government has confirmed moves to release 70 suspected bandits, many of whom are already standing trial in what it calls an effort to sustain a peace deal with armed groups operating across the state. A lot of supporters say the deal has saved a lot lives, but many Nigerians say it rewards violence and undermines justice. So we ask these critical questions. Is Katsina buying peace or postponing violence? Can peace truly be built on the release of men accused of terrorizing communities? And what does this mean for victims, the justice systems, and Nigeria's future security strategy? Let's break it down calmly and honestly. A leaked government letter dated January 2nd, 2026, marked secret, revealed that the Katsina state government initiated judicial steps to release 70 suspected bandits accused of banditry-related crimes. 48 suspects were listed first. An additional 22 inmates were later added. Some are before Federal High Court, others are awaiting trial in magistrate and state high courts. The letter was issued by Ministry of Justice, signed by the Director of Public Prosecutions, and addressed to the Chief Judge of Katsina State. And what is the justification of this? The release is a condition for sustaining an ongoing peace agreement between the government, affected communities, and what the state calls repentant bandits in quotes. Following public backlash, the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Mr. Nasir Muazu, defended the move. According to him, the peace deal involves 15 local government areas, and it has led to the release of about 1,000 abducted persons. Communities like Sabuwa, Safana, Kurfi, Faskari, Damusa, Bakori, and Busima have reportedly seen reduced attack. Mwanzu compared the move to prisoner exchanges during wartime, citing Nigeria's civil war negotiations involving Boko Haram. His voice in essence, and I quote, all over the world, after wars, prisoner exchanges take place. He insists the process is legal, guided by the administration of criminal justice law of Katsina State, and that anyone dissatisfied should seek redress in court. Now, here is where things get complicated. Yes, government negotiates with during conflict. Yes, hostage releases save lives. But this situation raises three serious concerns, and one is these are not prisoners of war. They are criminal suspects accused of kidnapping, mass killings, village raids, sexual violence, armed robbery. Some victims are still alive, while some are still grieving. So, what justice do they get? Second, what message does this send? If banditry leads to negotiation, amnesty, prison release, then what incentive exists not to pick up a gun? This is where critics argue the policy creates a circle, and the circle is violence, which leads to negotiation and reward, and it leads to more violence. Three, the silence of victims in all these discussions. Where are the victims? Were families consulted? Who speaks for the communities destroyed? Peace without justice often creates temporary calm, not lasting security. The reaction has been swift and angry. Northern groups have condemned the decision. Civil society voices say it undermines the rule of law, and many Nigerians feel the state is protecting criminals over citizens. Social media is flooded with one question. In quote, if I obey the law, what do I gain if criminals get freedom? This outrage isn't emotional alone. It is rooted in fear. Fear that tomorrow these same men could return to the forest and they are rearmed. Now, let's be honest. Banditry in the Northwest is not a simple crime problem. It is a governance problem, a poverty problem, a weapons problem, a justice problem. States like Katsina are desperate for calm, and desperation often leads to uncomfortable decisions. But here is the danger. When peace is negotiated outside a strong justice framework, it becomes fragile. We've seen this before. Deals collapse, groups splinter, new leaders emerge, and violence resumes, sometimes even worse than before. But the question is there an alternative to this? Yes, there is, but it requires a lot of courage. True peace building should include full disarmament of bandits, public accountability, victim compensation, community reconciliation panels, transparent legal processes, not secret letters, not rushed releases. Peace must be seen to be just, not merely declared. With the recent US intervention in Nigeria in Sokoto State, one would think we are learning, yet the reality on ground suggests otherwise. Because while international partners are raising concerns about governance and security and the rule of law in Nigeria, some state level decisions appear to be moving in the opposite direction. The United States has been clear in recent months that security cooperation must go hand in hand with accountability, justice, and institutional credibility. But what lesson are we taking from that? When a government negotiates the release of individuals accused of mass violence, it sends a troubling signal, not just to citizens, but to international partners watching closely. It also suggests that violence can be negotiated, justice is flexible, and accountability is optional. And that is exactly the kind of governance pattern that has repeatedly drowned foreign concerns, travel advisories, visa restrictions, and diplomatic pressure. History teaches us something important. Every time Nigeria responds to insecurity by appeasing armed actors without strong legal consequences, the problem does not disappear. It mutates, militias fragment, criminal networks adapt, and new groups emerge, often more brutal and less predictable. The Katsina state government says it chose peace, but peace without justice is unfinished business. Nigeria must decide, do we want a country governed by law or by negotiation with violence? Do victims matter or only ceasefires? Are we ending banditry or managing it? This is not just about Katsina, it is about the future of governance in Nigeria, and how we answer these questions today will shape our tomorrow. Let's take a listen to
Those bandits, criminals, insurgents, terrorists should stop. Because they say the friend of a chief is a thief. For us, if we get to the battlefield and you are among them, then whatever happens to them happens to you. And it's important for those good Nigerians to provide necessary information as quickly as you see something so the action should be taken. And the armed force is always ready to react.
Kuti had a song. Confusion, breaky pony, yeah, pam 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 pam, double wahala for daddy body and the owner for daddy body na double wa. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
The military chief is saying we gotta kill them because yes, we gotta kill them. These people kill, they destroy lives, they maim, and you can see the efforts being spent. Do you know what it costs? I think it was the military chief that was saying it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a missile. When you fire a missile, you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. At the same time, the state government is saying they had a peace deal with the bandit, and they had the temerity, the unmitigated temerity to write to the Judicial Commission to release bandits because they had a peace deal with them. How mad can we get in this country? In one fell swoop. So if the military chief is saying that if you're a friend to a bandit, then you are an accomplice. The Katsina state government, can we by extension say they're accomplices in this? These are people that are causing terror. And we have seen in the past, it's not today they're signing peace deals with bandits. They don't always keep to the agreements. God knows how many peace deals they've signed. They've signed peace deals in the past, but nothing came out of it. So I would like to go in line with what the military chief has said. We should not encourage the Katsina state government. In fact, they should call the governor to order. I don't know who supported this brokering of this peace deal, that the bandits have the temerity to go across local governments. I think that was even the point they should have even arrested those bandits in the first place and make them face the full wrath of the law. We can't keep pampering insecurity. These are vestiges of a failed state.
Right.
Very quickly, I think the Katsina state government, regardless of the explanation by the Commissioner for Home Affairs and Internal Security, is guilty of the same thing that the Minister of Defense, General Musa, was talking about, aiding and abetting, which is a crime in itself, within the purview of Section 7 of the Criminal Code of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, the Minister of Defense was saying that, look, if you cooperate and you support terrorists, you are guilty, and you too can be punished. Because the receiver of stolen goods under Section 247 of the Criminal Code is also a thief. So if you are aiding and abetting and you are acting as a fence, helping criminals, don't forget the word bandits. We're talking about criminals here. People who are abducting other people. In one of the local governments in that same Katsina state, they abducted 162 persons. In another local government, 28. In another local government, 26. In another local government, 62. And now you are saying, oh, you have collected some persons back and you have released 70 persons. We have said it again and again. This culture of giving pepper soup and jollof rice and ashwebi to bandits and terrorists should have ended with President Buhari, who was an expert in what they call rehabilitation, reconciliation, which never worked. In fact, in one state, they even arranged wives for these bandits, and yet they continue to operate. So the point made originally by the Minister of Defense is that you will be encouraging these terrorists by identifying themselves, by giving a fresh definition to the Stockholm Syndrome, which is the problem that they have in Katsina State. We do not accept the explanation by the commissioner that you have prisoners of war, prisoner exchange, prisoner swap. That's not the case here. You are exchanging criminals with innocent people. All those 70 persons that were released and they've been negotiated with should be facing the full wrath of the law and not asked that their cases be withdrawn from the courts. I think it beggars belief. I think it's confusing. And this is why many people say that the Nigerian governments, particularly at the state level, they don't seem to understand what is going on. The position of the federal government is that we do not negotiate with terrorists. And then in Katsina, they are negotiating with terrorists and they are beating their chest about it. Imagine the commissioner say, if you are not happy, seek redress in the court of law. What insolence.
Yes, that's such a key point, that the state and